Hannah. I work on the Worthing and St Richard's end. Hannah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Hannah and I'm co-chair and I cover the Haywards Heath area, so that's Princess Royal Hospital.
And Gail, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Gail Addison and I'm the Head of Midwifery for Worthing and St Richard's sides of UH Sussex.
Thank you, Gail. And Becky?
I'm Becky Corney. I'm one of the community team leaders based at St Richard's and have sort of some leadership over the birth centre and the use there.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for everyone that's logged into the live. So what we'll be doing today is posing some questions to Gail and Becky about midwifery-led units. So to kick it off, the first question we have is, what is a midwifery-led unit or a birth centre?
So there's two different sorts of birth centres. You can have a standalone birth centre and an alongside birth centre. The birth centre at Chichester, St Richard's, is a alongside birth centre, which means it's adjacent to the labour ward, and it's just a nice homely area that you can have your baby home from home. So normally people who choose to go there are people who may have sort of thought, oh, I might want a home birth, but maybe wanted a little bit more security around having their baby in the hospital. So we try to make it as homely as possible. We generally tend to have, oh look, there's Becky doing the little tour. It's the community midwives are generally the midwives who look after the women who choose to go to the birth centre, and we do have criteria as well, but we can talk about that later. And I got distracted by the fairy lights and Becky's moving around, so I don't know whether there's anything else you wanted to say, Becky.
No, I think that was it. The aim is for sort of low risk ladies who want to be away from the hustle and bustle of labour ward, and if they're planning to be as sort of low key and have as minimal intervention as possible, then we encourage people to come here. We've got 2 rooms, both have got pools in.
Lovely. So actually that leads on quite nicely to my question, which was who can birth in a midwifery-led unit?
Shall I go, Gail? So the general sort of criteria that we have is the same as for women choosing to have home births. So the idea is that you're low risk. So we like you to be at least 37 weeks pregnant, only have 1 baby on board, hopefully be head down, and have had no other complications in the pregnancy. We do obviously look after lots of ladies who don't always meet this criteria, and then we make individual plans with them about sort of compromising on the safest place for them to be, and with sort of guidelines around what might make them have to go to labour ward. But we try and listen to everyone's wishes and sort of work with people, form a partnership with them so that we make safe plans together.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you very much. So actually talking about safety, my next question is it safe to be in a midwifery-led unit?
So I would say yes, especially the one at St Richard's. If you consider the distance between the birth centre and the main labour ward, it's literally just a few metres away across the corridor, and there's always other members of staff at the end of the phone, and we can easily transfer the woman over from the birth centre to the labour ward if any complications rose, which if that happens in the community, we would obviously be reliant upon ambulances.
Okay. So talking about the staff there, if it was somebody who wanted to choose to give birth in a midwifery-led unit, what sort of staff would they expect to see on the ward at St Richard's?
So in the daytime, it's the community midwives that are looking after them during their pregnancy. Can't choose which, it's not sort of like a named midwife, so it's just one of the midwives is allocated per day shift to work there. And at night time we have a team of midwives that cover from the main labour ward.
Okay. And what are the pain management options available on a midwifery-led unit?
So obviously we have a lot of affirmations on the walls, so we encourage sort of physiological birth on the birth centre with breathing and hypnobirthing techniques. We don't have an awful lot of drugs on the birth centre. We do have Entonox or gas and air. If somebody wanted some morphine, diamorphine, then we could give that to you on the birth centre. And obviously then we've just got sort of more gentle analgesia like paracetamol or codeine. You wouldn't be able to have an epidural on the birth centre. And obviously, I completely forgot, but the main pain relief would be the pools that we have there, and you might also want to use a TENS machine as well, but obviously not in the pool.
Yes, I hear a water and electricity, don't
No, not too well.
Rebecca, because you're there, my next question was, are there pools? And obviously there are pools. You said there are both rooms.
Yep.
Are you able to show us a pool quickly? Is there one? Oh, lovely. Thank you.
You see that clearly?
Yeah.
Quite deep. I'm trying to have lights around it. So when you get in it, we fill it up so it covers your bump. So you step into, there's a step on the outside and then the step inside the pool. So you sink down into lovely warm water. It's 37 degrees and it covers your bump. So people love it because just feel much more comfortable. You get a sense of relief straight away.
Oh, hello, Kat. So you said there's 2 birth pools at St Richard's, is that?
Yes, we've got 2 on the birth centre, 1 in each room, and then there is a room on Labour Ward that has a pool as well.
Lovely.
Wonderful. So I think you've kind of alluded to some of it already, but what else is available to support a straightforward birth on the birth centre?
So the midwives that are looking after you. Sorry, Gail, I interrupted.
Let's go for it. Carry on.
I'm saying the midwives that are looking after you, and we encourage you to sort of use your own resources, bring your own music that you like to listen to. It can be any type of music. We've had every genre known to man that people find relaxing. Some people have hypnobirthing tapes playing where it's got the affirmations and the sort of the relaxation techniques. We encourage partners to be really involved, and birth partners can do a lot of massage, helping people get into comfortable positions. If they're out of the pool, they can help them move around, give them encouragement with their breathing. It's really important.
Okay. Have anything else to add, Gail?
I don't think so. I think Becky's covered most of it. It's just trying to keep it as nice and calm, as relaxed, and we encourage a quiet, the rooms to be quiet, and the midwives not to jibber jabber too much in the rooms. And it tends to be just the woman in the birth centre and the midwife. We don't have lots of people, so it does, especially at night time, it does tend to be a really nice quiet atmosphere where the midwife just can come and go and let the couple birth nice and quietly on their own in the rooms. It's just a completely different environment.
So my next question is, how will the birthing person and the baby be monitored during labour?
We obviously don't use the CTG machines, the cardiotocograph machines, which monitor the fetal heart rate continuously. So the midwife will either use a Pinard or a sonic aid and listen into the baby's heart rate every 15 minutes in labour, and then after each contraction, or every 5 minutes in the second stage of labour, whether she's on dry land or whether she's in the pool. And we'll obviously be monitoring the observations of the mum too, so checking that she feels fine and keeping an eye on her blood pressure and her heart rate as well.
Wonderful. We've actually had 2 questions come through on a similar vein to whether you support vaginal birth after caesarean at the birth centre.
So like Becky said, if anybody doesn't fit the criteria that we have for the birth centre, then they will meet with their midwife, their named midwife, and probably have a conversation with one of the team leaders, and we would make a plan of care. So we would never definitely say no, but we would make an individualised care plan with that person, supported by Annie Hamilton probably in the birth after caesarean section clinic, and the consultant as well who was looking after you during your care. So I wouldn't say no, but you would have your own individualised plan of care.
Lovely, thank you.
Another question came up about something actually to do with the birth pool. So before we move on from that, a question about whether the second birth pool has been fixed. So was there an issue with that?
So it has been fixed, and then it's broken again at the weekend.
Okay.
We did have 2 in use for the last few weeks, but there's a little tape over it when I came to work today, so I'll be on to estates to get a spare part for that.
Okay. I haven't seen any other questions pop up other than the VBAC and birth pool. Please do pop any questions that you have into the chat. Okay, so the next question I have is, what happens if there is a problem?
So if somebody is in the pool and the midwife hears the baby's heartbeat, the most common thing that the problem would be is that we're concerned about the baby's heartbeat. So if the lady's in the pool, then we would just ask her to get out so that we can hear the baby's heartbeat more clearly. We do have a bed in the room that we just tuck in the corner so we can pop her out of the pool and onto the bed so we can listen. If there's more of an emergency situation, then we can take the water out of the pool very quickly. But generally the woman can still just climb out of the pool and then we can get more assistance. If the baby's not coming as soon as we would like, then we can get more midwives into the room just to give us some more assistance. And the doctors, we have a very good relationship with the doctors on labour ward. They come whenever we ring the bell.
Brilliant.
So we have like an emergency bell like they do in any of the other rooms on labour ward. And I don't want to scare anybody, but all the midwives are trained in doing pool evacuation as well. So if they were worried about somebody and they couldn't get out of the pool themselves, then we do have to have yearly training on pool evacuation.
I don't think that's scary. I think it's nice to know that everybody is trained in something. I think it actually makes it feel a bit safer. So
Yeah.
thank you, Gail.
My recent visit to the birth centre, one of the things I noted was the great steps that come in and out. It's not just one step where you have to kind of take quite a large step into the pool. It does go up. It's quite staggered. It seems quite easy to get in and out, really.
Yeah.
Someone's just asked, in case of an emergency, what would you do if needing to perform a caesarean section?
So, like Becky said, if we were worried, the most common reason for that would be if there was a worry about the baby. So like Becky said, the midwife would pull the emergency buzzer, and then that woman would be put on a bed and taken round to labour ward, which would literally take less than 5 minutes to get you round to labour ward and into theatre if it was that dire an emergency.
Okay.
There are other reasons that people might be transferred round, not just in labour. If you've got a complicated tear that needed suturing in theatre, then you might need to be taken round to labour ward for that. Or if we couldn't get the placenta out, which can sometimes happen, then you would have to go round to labour ward for that as well. So it's not just in labour reasons. Sometimes it can be something that happens afterwards that means that you need to be transferred to labour ward. But like I said before, it's just a few metres across the corridor, so it's not like we have to call an ambulance.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it is you know coming through that, and it a big clear arrow left, go to the labour ward, arrow right, go to the birth centre. There, so.
Yeah, I think also, I hope I'm right in saying that obviously the midwives, as you said earlier, Gail, are checking you constantly and checking baby constantly as well. So if there are any concerns, it's very quickly kind of dealt with. I'm guessing it's not always, yeah.
If you can imagine, if you had a concern about a baby in a home birth, you've got to wait upon an ambulance to come and get you. It depends where you are, whereas you're literally a few minutes away from the labour ward, if that.
Yeah. I've just been asked by somebody, is it possible to arrive at the birth centre? Have obviously after calling and saying that they're coming in and not having a vaginal examination. Our midwives used to using other techniques to assess stages of labour.
So the community midwives are very used to people who don't want to have vaginal examinations in labour when they're attending home births, and that's becoming more and more common now. So yes, yes is the answer to that, and obviously it would be, we would be able to assess how things were going on just by how the person was, how frequently the contractions are coming. But so yes is a simple answer.
Lovely. We're getting loads of questions tonight. I'm sorry, we've got another one saying, how long do you typically stay in the room after baby has been born?
The average would probably be 2 to 3 hours. And some women choose to go home straight from here, so they would often stay a little bit longer because then they'll get everything checked and they can have shower and food and drink and feed the baby, and we can check the baby before they leave. But if we're very efficient and fast, I guess 2 hours is probably the quickest. Can take 5.
Lovely, thank you.
There was another one as well before we move on. It's a question about if Chichester is the only MLU available, if Crowborough is closer. So yes, Crowborough is still another option. Within our patch, we are UH Sussex, which doesn't include Crowborough as a birthing centre, but absolutely, if that is a better geographical option for you, then Crowborough is still available, but you would need to contact them about any of their policies and information and things.
Yeah. My last question is, if can someone birth at the St Richard's birth unit if they aren't booked under St Richard's?
So if you can have your baby wherever you want to have your baby. So if you want to go and have your baby in Aberdeen, then you could pop up there and go and have your baby there. But if you were booked at any of the 4 sites, then yes, you could in theory have your baby on the birth centre. But I guess it would also depend upon, what was happening on the main unit as well. If all the midwives were busy already and then you came along as extra and you were originally booked to have your baby at Haywards Heath, they may not be able to accommodate you. So that's the same for anybody though, depending on how busy the units are at the moment. But so I guess the answer is yes, you can. But obviously, and now we're all on the same computerized system with Badgernet, that's much easier. But we would, if you had all of your antenatal care in, say, Haywards Heath, we would have to just do a quick blood test to check your blood group when you arrived.
Okay. Thank you. Someone's also asking, can you visit the birthing centre during pregnancy to have a look around?
Yeah, so you can just arrange that with your community midwife, probably be the easiest.
Yeah, so a lot of the community midwives will meet the women on the birth centre and show them around. But what we're planning to do in the new year is have some parent craft classes, which are specific to women who want to birth on the birth centre or want to have a home birth, and we can do a little tour at the same time.
Lovely. That sounds great. Thank you.
What happens after the birth? So you have already touched, Becky, on the desire to get women straight home from the birth centre, but yeah, about what happens after birth.
So same for wherever you have your baby, really. After the baby's born, then you have as much skin-to-skin time as you like. And then when you're ready, we check mum and baby over. So we do a top-to-toe check of the baby. Everything is okay. Then we encourage the baby to have a feed. And then we do a check of mum, see if she needs any stitches, check all her observations. And then she normally has a shower and some food and drink. And then just make their plans about whether they want to stay on the postnatal ward overnight or whether they want to plan to go home from there. And then we have to do a bit of paperwork.
Wonderful.
It's supposed to be a lot easier now. We do it all on the computer. That's not always the case.
So just to summarise, we've had someone else asking about the vaginal birth after cesarean. That question has been discussed already, so if you wanted to listen back, we'll be posting this on our grid so you can listen to the full answer. But in summary, what Gail said is it would be a discussion to be had with your consultant or midwife. And then we've had another question, which is, what is the likelihood of St Richard's Birth Centre being closed when wanting to use it, as they've heard that this has happened before and feeling a bit anxious?
It's not ever really closed because it isn't something we can close, but it might be that there aren't enough midwives to support having a midwife on the birth centre. We would try and prioritise that. It depends how busy the main labour ward is really and how many staff are on the shift, but there's no reason why as long as we've got a midwife who's free to look after you, there's no reason why you can't go to the birth centre. So it's not that it's closed, it's that there aren't enough midwives to look after you in labour, really. That doesn't sound like it makes sense, Becky.
I think it's because sometimes if the midwives are all together on labour ward, they could do a bit of shared care. They could look after more than one person at a time. The aim is that if once you're in labour that you only have one midwife looking after you, but sometimes if there's other ladies there for other reasons, then they can just do little jobs as well. So it can be a big decision to then say it's okay for a midwife to come over to the birth centre and then purely be away from the other staff. But we're working really hard to make that happen more and more. We're just starting a project to try and increase the number of births on the birth centre and the availability of the midwives.
Lovely. Someone has asked, do you do induction on the midwifery-led unit?
So we don't do them on the birth centre. The induction would always start either on the antenatal ward or on the labour ward because you have to have some continuous monitoring. It would depend on the reason for induction as well. But if somebody was having a straightforward induction of labour just because they were overdue and all they needed was their waters broken, or they'd got to a stage quite quickly where their waters could be broken, then there's no reason why they can't go around to the birth centre. As long as they don't need continuous monitoring.
Brilliant, thank you.
Wonderful. I don't think we've had any more come in, and that's it from me. Anything you'd like to share? Or?
No, that's it for me though. I just have to say, like, how wonderful we've had so many questions tonight. I don't think we've had this many questions before, so it's been really great. So thank you everybody for watching and joining in.
Yes, I was going to say the same. It's been wonderful to have so much engagement from everyone. So thank you for your questions. And as I mentioned before, this will be shared on our grid. So if anyone wants to watch it back again, then please do. And it's, wonderful to see you all. So thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.